everybody, welcome back to BIOSKUL. This is Gayatri. So today's topic is the most requested topic and the topic is meet the heart. Most often you will get question from the heart. This is the syllabus of GATE Geology paper. In the section 7, here you can see from the animal anatomy and physiology, there is circulatory system. If we will look into CSIR syllabus, unit 7, systems and physiology of animal, there is a cardiovascular system. So in BSc, in MSc, if you are preparing any competitive exams, it may be the GATE exam or it may be the CSIR NET exam, you will get definitely question from cardiovascular system. So this is a series of lectures where we will cover in details about the cardiovascular system. Today we will see the structure of heart and its circulation in adults as well as in the fetal circulation. In this upcoming series, we will cover cardiac muscles, conduction system, cardiac cycle, cardiac output, ECG, blood pressure, neural and chemical regulation. So everything I will cover in this lecture series of cardiovascular system. So if you are new to my channel and have not subscribed yet, then please do subscribe and stay connected for more informative videos. And one important point is that we will practice previous year questions also in this series. So guys, let's get started. Heart. So if you think about heart, then what comes into your mind? That today we are living because of our functional heart. So our duty is to keep our heart healthy. So how can we keep our heart healthy? By doing regular exercise and by healthy foods. So heart, it is a muscular organ. We can say that it is the hardest working organ of our body. It is act like a pump to supply the blood to all the cells of body except one cell. Can you guess what is that cell? Yes, you guessed correctly. That is the cornea. So the heart, it pumps blood to all the cells of the bodies except cornea. Next point comes to our mind is that where heart is located. The heart, it is present just beneath the sternum. Okay, it is present just beneath the sternum. The sternum or the breastbone, it is the central bone in the chest. Okay, and beneath it there is presence of the heart. Heart, it is shaped like an inverted cone. The narrow part, which is directed downward, that is known as the apex. Okay, and it is present approximately in the position of 5th and 6th rib. And the upper part of the heart, which is called the base, that is directed upward and it is present near to the rib number 2. Okay, this heart in embryo heart, it is derived from mesoderm. We can say that heart is the first functional organ in the fetus. It starts functioning just after the 3rd week of fertilization. If we come to the size of heart, the size of heart, it is like a fist in kids. But in adults, if we clasp our palm, if we clasp, and in adults, its size is the clasped palm. Okay, or you can say that the size is like 2 fists. Okay, its size is like the 2 fists. Okay. Next comes to wall of the heart. Heart, it is covered by fibrous sac, and that sac is called the pericardium. So what is the function of pericardium? Pericardium, it has the several function. One important function is that it lubricates the wall of heart. Thereby, it helps in smooth beating of heart. Okay. It also prevents the heart from different infection. Besides that, it helps in positioning or keep the heart from over expanding. Okay, it also keeps the heart from over expanding. If the heart it expands, then that may cause different life-threatening disease. It may be the heart failure also. So here in diagram, you can see this one is the sternum and this is the heart, which is present beneath the sternum. And heart, it is covered by a fibrous sac that is called the pericardium. If there is inflammation in the pericardium, then that is called the pericarditis. Okay, here this pericardium is infected or inflamed. Okay, so the heart wall, it is composed of 3 layers of tissue. The first layer is known as the epicardium or it is also called the visceral pericardium, as it is the inner layer of fibrous layer, that is the pericardium. And the second layer, that is called the myocardium. Myocardium, it is the thickest layer. See here, it is the thickest layer. And you know, the contraction of myocardium helps in pumping the blood throughout our body. And the inner layer, it is called the endocardium, and endocardium, it covers the heart valves. Okay. So this is all about heart valve. So let's see the chambers of the heart. And you all know that human heart, it has 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are known as right atrium and left atrium. Lower chambers are known as right ventricles and left ventricles. If we compare the atrium and the ventricles, then the ventricles are larger and thicker. So why it is so? It is because that ventricles, they receive the blood from the atrium, but they supply the blood to throughout the body with force. That's why the ventricle is thicker and larger in comparison to the atrium. Similarly, if we compare the right ventricles with the left ventricles, then which one is thicker and larger? That is the left ventricle. Why? Because you know the right ventricle, it pumps the blood to the lungs, okay, but the left ventricle, it pumps the oxygenated blood to throughout our body. Okay, that's why the left ventricle, it is thicker and larger. And one important point is that when we are studying about the structure of the heart, we are studying the structure of the heart of another person. That's why our left side is the right side of the heart and our right side is the left side of the heart. Okay, and the right atrium and the left atrium, they are separated by a septum. That septum is known as interatricular septum. Similarly, right ventricle and left ventricle, they are separated by a septum. That septum is called the interventricular septum. Okay. You know, if we disconnect the heart from our body, then also heart can survive if it is come in contact with the oxygen. Why? Because it has its own electrical system for pumping or for beating the heart. Okay, it doesn't depend on our body or brain. So we'll see how heart is working in our upcoming sessions. So one important point is the SA node. SA node, it is called as the sinoatrial node and it is also known as the pacemaker. Do you know where it is present? It is present upper part of the wall of the right atrium. Somehow over here you will find the sinoatrial node or SA node. Okay, SA node, it is very important when we will study about the conduction of heartbeat. Okay, similarly, AV node. AV node is the atrioventricular node. You will find it is present at the floor of right atrium near the interatrial septum, somewhere like here. Okay, it is present somewhere like here. Okay, this one is the AB node and this one is the SA node. Now let's have a look on circulation of blood in adults. Okay, so first what will happen, the blood, it is delivered to the right atrium. Okay, and the blood that is delivered to the right atrium, that is the deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood that flows into the right atrium through superior vena cava, that carries the oxygen depleted blood or the deoxygenated blood from upper extremes of body part, like it may be from the neck or and head. Similarly, inferior vena cava, it carries the deoxygenated blood to the right atrium from lower part of the body, like from the thorax or from the abdominal region. When blood reaches the right atrium, then from the right atrium blood, it flows into right ventricle. From the right ventricle, this is the deoxygenated blood, it flows into pulmonary artery. Okay, pulmonary artery, and the pulmonary artery, it carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation. Then the oxygenated blood from the lungs, they moves into the left atrium by pulmonary veins. Then from the left atrium, the blood, it will be moved into the left ventricle. Then from left ventricle through the aorta, it will supply the blood to all the cells of the body except cornea. So it is looking very simple, but the circulation pathway, it is not that simple. We will see in the cardiac cycle how actually the blood it is circulated in the body. So let's have a look on fetal circulation. You know, fetus, when it is present in the uterus, it gets the oxygen, nutrients all from the mothers through placenta, okay, by the umbilical cords. So first what will happen, oxygenated blood from mother, it will enter into the right atrium, okay, it will enter into the from placenta through umbilical vein. Oxygenated blood from mother, it enter into the fetus. Where it will enter? It will enter into the right atrium. Then the blood from the right atrium, it will enter into left atrium, okay, where it will enter from right atrium to left atrium. So there is a presence of a shunt through which blood enter from the right atrium to the left atrium, and this is one is the oxygenated blood, and that shunt is called as the foramen ovale. What it is called? It is called as the foramen ovale, and that foramen ovale, it is closed in adults, which is known as the fossa ovalis. Okay. So now the blood, it is present in the left atrium. From the left atrium, blood, it will enter into the left ventricle. Okay. From the left ventricle, then blood through the help of aorta, it will supplies through the brain, and some of the blood, it also enter into the heart muscle. Okay. But the blood which is returning to the fetal body, it contains carbon dioxide and waste products. Okay. So the carbon dioxide and the waste product containing blood that enter into the fetal heart into the right atrium. Here generally what happens, the deoxygenated blood from the right atrium, it's passed into the lungs for oxygenation, but in the fetus, lungs are not functional when the fetus it is present inside the uterus. So what will happen, now the deoxygenated blood from the right atrium, it will enter into ductus arteriosus. Then the blood, instead of the lungs, it enters into ductus arteriosus, and through the ductus arteriosus, it will enter into descending aorta. And the descending aorta, it is connected to placenta by umbilical arteries. Okay. So now the deoxygenated blood through the umbilical arteries, it enter into the placenta of mother. Then in the mother's circulatory system, it will purify the blood, and again the oxygenated blood from the placenta through the umbilical vein, it will enter into the right atrium of fetus. Similarly, the cycle is repeated. Okay. So one important point is that, artery, it always carries the oxygenated blood except the pulmonary artery that carries the deoxygenated blood. Similarly, vein, it carries the deoxygenated blood except pulmonary veins which carries the oxygenated blood. So now have a look on heart valves. How many valves are present in heart? It is 4. Okay. So what is the function of valve? Valve, it will help in the unidirectional flow of blood through the heart. So now we'll look where these 4 valves are present. Okay. First the deoxygenated blood, it will enter into the right auricle, right atrium. It will enter into the right atrium. Then from the right atrium, blood, it will enter where? It enters into the right ventricle. So in between the right atrium and the right ventricle, there is presence of a valve. That valve is known as the tricuspid valve. Okay. Why it is called the tricuspid valve? Because it is composed of 3 flaps. So this one is one of the valve. Secondly, another valve, it is present in between the left atrium and the left ventricle, and that valve, it is known as the bicuspid valve, because it has bi means 2, because it has 2 flaps. That's why it is called the bicuspid valves. It is also known as the mitral valves. Okay. So here you will find the 2 valves in between the atrium and ventricle. Another two valves, those are known as the semilunar valves. Okay, another two valves are known as the semilunar valves. And where these valves are present? These are present when the blood flows from the ventricles into the aorta. So one semilunar valve you will find it is present in the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery. Okay, I'm writing it as a PA, pulmonary artery, where you will find one semilunar valve and another semilunar valve that is present when the blood that flows from the left ventricle to the aorta. So four valves are present in the heart and their function is to help in unidirectional flow of blood. Okay. So it is called the semilunar valve. Why it is called the semilunar valves? Semi means half, lunar means moon. As these valves, looks like a half moon. So it is called the semilunar valves. Okay. And the tricuspid and bicuspid valves, they are looking like the flaps. You know, there is the presence of the chordae tendineae. These are the cord-like the structures that hold the atrioventricular valve to the papillary muscles, and the papillary muscles, they are extended from the myocardium. We can say that chordae tendineae and papillary muscles, they ties the AB valves, atrioventricular valves to the ventricular wall. Okay, that help in the valves to open and close properly. One important point is that if you compare the men and women, we'll find the heart rate it is higher in women. So why it is higher in women? What do you think about that? Please comment down below. For squeezing a tennis ball, the force which is required, similar type of force is required by heart to pump the blood throughout the body. It is the most hardest working muscular organ of our body. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sure that now you have a clear idea about the structure, anatomy and the function of heart. So in coming section, we'll see the cardiac muscle and its conduction system. For getting such informative videos, please subscribe my channel and stay connected. Thank you so much.